Welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys a whole lot for subscribing to my YouTube channel, for all of the support that I have gotten. I actually don't take it for granted. I appreciate you all a whole lot. Okay, so today I'm going to be showing you I'm just so excited because most questions that I normally get is about off shoulder blouse, off shoulder dress, how to just cut an off shoulder literally. So today I'm going to be doing a beginner's off shoulder. I just named the video beginner's off shoulder shape blouse with balloon sleeve. It is really simple. I'm going to make it in such a way that for beginners, as in you should be able to pull this off after watching this video. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. It's very simple. It's easy for you to sew this blouse. So you could see the picture up there. If you are new to my channel, if you have not subscribed already, I will appreciate if you hit on the subscribe button. Subscribe to my YouTube channel too and support me to help me grow. And okay, yes, and then hit on the bell to get an update whenever I upload a new video. So let's just get started now. So you see the fabric that I have here. I'm going to be making use of an Ankara fabric, and I'm going to be making use of 2 yards of fabric for this blouse. So let's just get started. So I'm going to cut out the fabric and then I'll explain to you how to fold your fabric to cut out if you want to make this kind of blouse. So let's just get started. Okay, so you could see I've finished folding out my fabrics. So I'm going to explain to you now how I folded out and then the lines that you can actually see on it. So because this kind of dress, when you're making this kind of blouse, you will use the biggest part of your measurement to fold your fabric, and the biggest part of the measurement you could use the waist. That's the down part of the blouse. That's the blouse waist. That's what we call the blouse waist. Or you could use your bust measurement. That's the bust circumference. That's your round bust. So for me, my round bust is actually 36. So when you divide 36 into 4, you are going to have 9 inches. So this is 9 inches. When you have your 9 inches, you add about 5 inches, between 3 to 5 inches to 9 inches. So you could see, for instance, see I have 9 inches right here, and then I added about 5 inches to the 9 inches. So at the end of the day, I have about 13 inches, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So you could have between 13 and 14. But for you to be very, very safe, as in for a grand, as in beginners, you can just fold your fabric at 15 inches. It will still be okay and perfect, so you don't run into any problem. So you could see, so mine is folded at about 13 and a half, which is okay. So now we're going to start. I have some basic lines here which I will explain. In cutting an off-shoulder blouse, off-shoulder gown, off-shoulder pattern, you are going to subtract the top part. That's the shoulder part, because it does not have a shoulder, if you see from the picture. So for this, there are some basic standard measurement for off shoulders. You could use 4 inches, you could use 5 inches, you could use 6 inches. Depends on how deep you actually want your chest to be open. So for this, I'm just going to use about 4.5 inches, which is okay, modest. So what you are going to do, you are just going to take your tape like this, and then you subtract that 4 or 5 inches that you want to use. You make sure you just put it on the top part, and then you measure from that point now. So this part now will now serve as your shoulder line, and then you mark your bust point, which is your nipple. That's your bust point. In case for those that don't know how to take measurement for bustiers, I'll drop the link in the description box so you understand how these lines came about. So you have 10 inches, which is your nipple point, and then after that, the next measurement you are going to measure is your under bust, which is 13 inches, is the under bust. So, and then after the under bust, the next measurement you are going to measure is your waist measurement. What I mean by your waist measurement in a blouse, you mean the tummy area. That's the side where your stomach, your navel. For this is 18 inches. So that's the line. So these are basic lines that you need to cut a perfect blouse. And then the next measurement is the full length of my blouse, which is 23 inches, sorry. And then I added 2 inches for stitching allowance. So at the end of the day, so you see my how everything is laid out. So these are the line, the bust point, the under bust, the waist, and then the full length. So now we're going to start. It is a bustier, and this is like the simplest bustier ever for beginners. What you are going to do, you are going to use your bust span measurement. That's from one nipple to another. That's what you will use in cutting out this kind of dress. So what you will do, so for this, my bust pan is actually 9 inches. The 9 inches, that's plus the allowance, everything is 9 inches. So you divide it into 2, which is 4.5. So I'm just going to mark 4.5 here like this, and then I'll mark the 4.5 on all of the points, and then I'll connect it like this with a straight ruler. So this line will serve as your dart line for this blouse. So this will be my dart line. The next thing we're going to do now is very simple and easy. Like I said, this is a beginner's off shoulder. What you are going to do, you come to the under bust line like this. It is very simple. And then from this under bust line, here's what you are going to do. You mark 1 inch to this side, and then mark 1 inch to this side also. It's very simple. Just look at what I'm doing. I'm not using a pattern. From this point like this, now you connect it to the bust point line. This is the bust point, that's the nipple point. So you're just going to slant it like this. So just slant it like this. And then this one also, slant this one to this point like this. And then from this point now, you come to this side, you measure 1 inch to this right hand side on the shoulder line like this. You mark 1 inch. And then on this side also, you mark 1 inch. You can do half of an inch on this side. At times let me do half of an inch. I do half of an inch. And then from this point now, you are just going to mark like this. You mark it, you connect it back. So you see, it is very simple. Connect it back. Just try and let it have a slight curve. And then this one also, on this point like this, you connect it to this one like this. You see it? You see how it is looking? This one is like this, this one is like this. And then from this point like this 1 inch point like this, you are just going to take it down to this point like this. That's from this point like this. Here's what you are going to do. You can decide to just, you see how I'm placing my ruler like this. You just take it down, let it come to join this mark here. And then this one also, you just take it like this. And then let it come. So you are taking out like half of an inch from this down part. Okay, so sorry. So this is the back piece. So I folded the back. The back is bigger than the front. The back you could use for your zipper allowance. You could use between 1.5 to 2 inches to make it bigger than the front piece. So that's the back piece. So the next thing we're going to do now, this is there are 2 ways to do this. You can actually cut it out and then place on top and cut out. I think we should do that since this is a beginner's class. So let's do that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to take out the back piece. Let's just leave the back piece out, and then this that we have cut, we'll just do it like this. So you see, so you come to this under bust point, and then you take it like this to that half inch point on the shoulder line. So you see there's a curve there, and then this one is the other part. Now you cut it like this also. This is the bust point. So you know it is not sharp, so you just give it like a slight curve, and then you take it like this to that half inch, joining the line for the down part. So you cut it out. So you see we have cut this out. It's very simple and easy. So the next thing we're going to do now, since this is a beginner's class, I don't want to bore your head with calculation. You're just going to take this like this, very simple and easy, and then you place it here like this. You see it? This is like this, very simplest. So you just place it like this, and then you take out your full body measurement. I'm just so excited. Do you understand? It's very simple. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to mark out the shoulder for this dress. We're going to mark out the shoulder. So when we are done, I'll show you how to add the neckline because it is an off shoulder. So let's just go ahead. So from this part now, the shoulder is 14 inches. So you divide 14 into 2, you have 7. This is 7 inches like this. I'll mark the 7 inches here. So for this, I'll just add half of an inch because I'm still going to reduce that shoulder measurement. So I'll just add half of an inch here, and then from this point like this, I'll remember our, we're using 4.5 to drop our shoulder. So you are just going to come to this point like this, and then we'll mark out the armhole for this dress. So the neckline, we're still going to insert the neckline. So I just want you to know. So with that, we're going to reduce this part. So for the armhole, I'm going to use 9 inches. So I'll just mark it like this, and then I would connect it together, and then just use my pattern curve to give it a clean curve like this for my armhole. So just make sure it is sitting, so you don't just sit up on top of, like you could see on this part, just like half of an inch. And then the next measurement you are going to come to is the bust measurement. So you measure the bust on this line just below. So for the bust, like I told you, I said I'm using 9 inches, which is 36. You divide into 4, this is 9 inches. And then what I have here, I'll add about 2 inches so for my allowance. So I'll mark it like this. And then I'll come to my under bust. So the under bust measurement I'm using is 30. You divide 30 into 4, you have 7.5. This is 7.5 like this. You mark it here. And then I'm going to use the same and about 2 inches or 2.5 inches for my allowance like this. And then you connect this line like this to this. And then you are going to come to your stomach area, which is the tummy part or the waist. You are going to mark, you are going to mark it. You are going to divide what you have into 2. I have 32. So you divide that's the stomach area, that's the tummy or the waist is 32. So you divide 32 into 4, you have 8. And then I'm going to add my 2 inches or 2.5 inches allowance on this side. So you see the blouse is taking shape on its own. So you mark it like this. You see it's taking shape on its own. And then you are going to come to the down part. So for the down part, you measure your round waist, that's the top part, how wide you want the down of your blouse to be. You measure it. So for this, mine, I want it to be 40 inches. So which, when you divide 40 into 4, you have 10. So this is like my 10 inches. And then I'm going to add the same 2 inches that I've been using for my allowance. I'll add it on that point. So I'll just come like this and then connect it. So from this part like this, the shape joining here, you just connect it to that waist measurement. So I'm going to show you how to shape this to have the shape of what we actually have there. So I'm just going to cut off this like this now. Okay, so we are done with this now. So the next thing I'm going to do now, we'll go and join it together before we come and cut out the neckline. It is very simple. So in doing that, I'm going to take my back piece like this. I'll place it like this, just like a very simple way of doing this. You take this and then you place this here like this. Just place it on top like this. This is my starting line, you remember. I'll place it like this on top of my fabric, and then I'll take this, I'll place it here like this, just on this point, just like about half of an inch point. You place it like this. Make sure that all of your lines are joined together nicely. And then I'm going to use this mesh to shape the side of the back piece. I don't need to measure it afresh. So I'll mark like this. I'll cut it out. Okay, so I cut out the back piece. So for the back piece and the back, I'm just going to add my dart. So I'm just going to come to this point like this, and then I'll mark like this for me to add my regular waist dart to the back piece. So this is my dart line. So because you know this is where that one started from, so definitely my dart lines are going to be here. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to put a notch here, and then I will stitch this point like this. So you can decide to stitch how long, depends on how long you want it to be. So I can stitch it to the under bust part. So that's that, and then I'll put a notch here for the zipper. So now you cut out your lining exactly like this. So the way to do this now, I will just take it over to my machine, and then I'll go and stitch. So the back, since I'm doing a regular waist that I don't need to stitch the back, so the back is there. So I'll take it back now. So you see what I have. I will go and stitch it. So I'll stitch it together like this, and then stitch this together, and then come back, we'll cut out the neckline. Okay, so you see I finished stitching my blouse, so you could see how it is looking. So if you are going to pad this blouse, all you are going to do is just do your padding on the chest area, and then that is done. So what we are going to do now, we're going to shape it out. So you fold it like this to cut out the neckline. This is the back piece, so I've not opened it. Okay, so what we are going to do now, we're going to cut out our neckline. So you are going to take your tape like this. So remember our shoulder is actually 7 inches. So what we are going to do now, for the neckline like this, I'm going to mark, depends on how wide you want it to be, but I think 3 inches is just ideal. So I'm going to mark 3 inches like this on this part like this. So we'll cut the back and the front together, but the back we're going to make a little bit deeper. So you mark 3 inches here, and then you remember the depth. You are not just going to put your tape like this and mark. If you mark like this, you are going to miss it. Remember, we actually use 1.5 inches for our shoulder drop. So you are going to place your tape like this, and then you are going to think, how deep do I actually want my neckline to be? Do I want 7 inches or do I want 6 inches? So you just determine that. So for this, I think we should do about 6.5. So I'll just mark the 6.5 like this, and then I'll mark like this, and then from this point like this, I'm going to slant it into the armhole area like this. So you see at the end of the day how it's going to be. You just slant it into the armhole. So if you are using 4 inches, you can decide to do that, and then just slant it into the armhole like this. And then this is for the depth of my neckline like this. So I'll cut the back and the front. I'm going to cut them together, and then I'll deepen the back a little bit once I'm done. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So I'll just cut like this. This is for the neckline. You see, it's just like a round neckline. You cut it out like this, and then you come like this. You just put your scissors like this, and then you do this. So you see, that's your off shoulder. Very simple and easy. The next thing, if you want the back to be deeper, all you are going to do, you are just going to come down a little bit, maybe like 1 inch or 1.5. Let's just do 1 inch is okay. You mark it like this, and then just shape it into this part. Make sure it does not exceed that part. So I'm just trying to explain this part very well. So I'm trying to explain. I know the video will be a little bit long, but it's going to be worth it. So if you want to register for my online classes, you could see my number scrolling through. So I have about 6 classes presently that we're going to be starting in this new month. I have the beginners class, I have the intermediate class, I have a ready-to-wear class for those of you that want to go into ready-to-wear business, how to actually create your size chart, how to finish your dresses properly. And then I have an advanced class, and then I have a corset class, and then a trouser class also for those of you that want to learn how to sew trouser and jumpsuit. So just send me a message on WhatsApp. So you see, we are done. The next thing we're going to do now, we're going to shape the down part of our blouse. So for this, I'm going to pin my blouse together. So I'll pin it down together like this on this part. I don't want it to move. I want accuracy. So, and then for this, we're going to come like this. So you are going to come to the side like this. You're going to come to the side, that's this down part like this. I'm going to mark about 2 inches upward like this. So from this part, here's what I'm going to do. I want you to note, you see that I'm really not cutting out anything from this point. So that's how you have that shape at the down of your blouse. So I'll go back to so I'll open up this back piece now. And then I will go and join my blouse together. So I'll open it up. So you see the shape that is looking like what we have on that picture. So if you want it higher, you just go up higher. So you see our neckline is just so perfect, small and not too big. So you see the dress. So what I'm going to do now, so if you are using lining, you just cut everything according to your lining. So you see the back is looking like what we have there, and then we're going to go and sew them together. Okay, so you see I finished stitching the side of my blouse together. So you see how it is looking beautiful. I've not turned it out with the lining. So the next thing now, I'm going to add You could see the rope on the neckline. So I've done a video like this on my neckline videos. I've actually taught how to do this kind of neckline. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to show you how you can actually attach the strap. So you just create your strap, depends on how wide you actually want it to be. So for this, I actually used about 2.5 inches. So after stitching, you are going to have the size, you fold it into 2.5 inches, and then you stitch and turn. So at the end of the day, I have what I'm going to use is about 15 inches. So I cut out 2 like that. So I'm fixing it. So this you are going to fix it before you actually turn out with your lining. So here is how you are going to fix it. So you see the neckline points, that's the edge of the neckline. You are just going to take this like this, and then you would pin it like this. You see it is facing this point. So when you turn with your lining, it's just going to be inside, and then this is going to stand like this. So I'll do the same thing with this point like this. You just place it on the right side like this, and then you turn, you stitch like this. So what you are going to do now, after doing this, you take this and then you cross them over. Note, you cross them over, and then you bring it, make sure you cross them. This comes to this side, and then this one is coming to this side, and then you take, this is the one that is going to this side, you take it like this. On this other side also, this is the right side, so you make sure, and then you take this point like this on this other side, and then you place it like this also on that back neckline point like this, and then you pin. And then you take this one also coming to this side, so you pin it right side facing right side like this, and then you pin it. So it depends on how long you actually want it to be. So for this, I actually use 15 inches length. So at the end of the day, so I'm just going to open it up for you to see. So at the end of the day, you see how it is looking. So it is looking like this. So you see, after wearing, this is going to be the center line. The front is going to cross out like this on the center. So what I'm going to do now, go and I'll show you how to cut out the sleeves now. Okay, so we're going to mark out the sleeve now. So for this, so you could see I have a piece of fabric on the table, and then for the sleeve, I'm going to create 2 inches on the top, which I'm going to use these 2 inches for my elastic casing on top, and then another 2 inches for my elastic casing at the down. So what you are going to do, your round sleeve measurement, that's what you are going to place on this part. Normally round sleeve, depends on how your round sleeve, you just measure round, that's this part. Measure it round, and then what you have, you divide it into 2. So normally you could use like my round sleeve can be 10 inches, so I'll use 5 inches normally. But since I'm going to be adding elastic, if you use that, it's going to be small, so you add to it. So for this, I'm going to work with about 8 inches instead of 5. So this is like 8 inches. I'll mark it here, and then the easiest way to do this sleeve is just take your armhole, as this is your armhole for your blouse, you place it here on this line like this, and then just mark like this out. Just take the shape. So this is the shape. So remember, this part is our casing, so you just extend it upward like this, and then you are going to have this. So that's going to be for our armhole. And then for this down part, you can determine how wide you actually want this part to be also. So for this, I'm just going to use about 12 inches. So you can actually determine that, just mark it like this. That's how simple our sleeve is, and then we'll just cut out. So this part, I'm going to gather this part and then gather this part. So I'll just go over to my machine now. Here's how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to fold this in like this, and then I'll add an elastic here, and then fold the down part also, and then add an elastic, and then I would stitch it. I will join the side and then come back and show you how to fix this. It's really simple. So let me cut out another one. Okay, so you see I finished stitching my sleeve. So you see I've added my elastic. So you see how it is looking, and then I've stitched this part and then added another one to the down part. So we're almost done. So I'm going to show you in fixing this. Here's what you are going to do. You are going to come to the armhole point like this, and then you are going to take this is the top part of your sleeve. You're just going to place it like this. This is that armhole that we measured while we were stitching. You're just going to place it like this. So you see, we place it like this on this point like this. So you turn this point like this back facing this back, and then you stitch it up to the armpits point like this, and then this other part also you take it like this, and then from this top part also you fix it on this part. So at the end of the day, so you see this part, this is that shoulder part that I was talking about. So you see this part now actually now pulls up to your shoulder level. So it depends on how full you want it to be. You can actually use 12 inches, so it depends. So I'm just going to go and finish up my dress, fix the lining, and then place it on the mannequin. Just finish it up and then place it on the mannequin for you to see the final look of our off-shoulder dress. Okay, so at the end of the day, you could see, and this is our beginners off-shoulder blouse. So you could see the down part. If you want the shape to be deeper at the down, you can come up by 3 inches and then give it a nice curve, and then it's going to curve more. But this is just how you actually do this shape. And then for the sleeve part, you know, we actually used I used about 9 inches. So if you want this elastic part, if you want it fuller, you can use as much as 12 inches. So at the end of the day, this part is going to be very full. And then the down also, if you feel that the sleeve is not wide enough, I am so sorry, I think I actually forgot to mention how many inches I used for the sleeve. That's the width. The width was actually 15 inches. I'm so sorry about that. It's actually 15 inches. So at the end of the day, if you want it fuller, you can go as much as 20 inches to give the balloon-ness more full. And then for this part, you know, we actually used 4.5 inches. So if you want it deeper, you can come down more. And then if you want it higher, you can go up by use about 4 inches. So thank you so much. If you find this video helpful, I would appreciate if you hit on the like button to make me know you appreciate what I did. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. God bless you. Ciao.